Yay, it's recording.
Hi, I'm Dana Waterman, and I'm applying for freshman SLA. And one thing I'm passionate about is my summer camp that I work at every summer. I'm super passionate about middle school ministry.
I am Caroline McClelland, and I am also applying for the SLA position. And one thing that I'm passionate about, this is the nerd inside of me, but I love Nancy Drew computer games.
I'm Ashley Giraud, and I'm also applying to be an SLA. I'm just passionate about hearing people's stories and getting to know them. I think there's so much we can learn from each other's stories, so that's something I love.
I'm Elizabeth Reddington, and I'm also applying for the SLA role. And I'm really just passionate about helping people in general. I'm really interested in going into medicine, and I really think that's a great way of serving people, a lot like the role of an SLA.
Okay, you guys, so we're having this problem with Trisha. She's kind of been very negative in our weekly convocation, or in our club combo, and just has been expressing a lot of negativity towards other residents. What are some ways you guys think we could be handling that situation?
I definitely feel for the situation, because I know that sometimes it's difficult when you're presented with things that you don't find comfort in and you don't find that you agree with something. But I think it's also an issue that this has kind of been imposing on others as well. And so I guess it's kind of our job to create that community and environment where like everybody feels really comfortable to share their opinions, but not in a way that they feel like somebody else is going to judge them or kind of hurt them. So what do you guys think?
I think it's important to create a safe space for them to talk with you. So I think that once I see that this is becoming an issue in club combos, and I'd say, hey, like, can we have a coffee date and talk, or like go to lunch together, or like bake together or something, and just like talk to her, get to know her more, and then just like I think in loving her, helping her know that, or coming to a place of kind of challenging her to say, hey, like, I'd love to talk to you about these things, and like just have a conversation between us about those things, but we don't need to bring that into club combo, because we want to create an environment, like, and just helping her realize, I guess, what like sharing the negative thoughts does. It doesn't encourage necessarily like a community feel of loving each other and just like that vibe. So I think just building that one-on-one relationship.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Ashley said, that building like that core relationship to begin with is fundamental for everything. And I would also say that I think it's perfectly fine that she doesn't agree with what the pastor says and she's questioning it. I think I would personally really encourage her of why it's so negative and harmful in a sense, especially to the community, and maybe talk to her about how she can refocus that and look at things just very constructively and calmly, and really figure out how she feels about what she's taking in. And as for the other students that are kind of like struggling with their faith possibly from Trisha's comments, I think that's going to happen from any place. It's not just Trisha, and that's just part of the job, is that we have to help them work through struggles with their faith.
Yeah, I think kind of going off what you just said, actually, I think it's important to recognize that like it's a good thing that she's questioning it. Like, it means she's like passionate and she's like intentional about what she believes, but sort of redirecting that. And also I think with things like this, like kind of confronting the issue as soon as possible before it spirals and it's like multiple residents are like, just sobbing and confused. And also potentially looking at if maybe there's like another reason behind her negativity.
Yes,
like
for sure.
I know that like it's hard freshman year coming in, and you've always gone to the same church, you lived in the same family, you've always been with people who agree with what you believe, and then to come to a place where so many people come from different backgrounds in Christianity, like it's got to be frustrating, and maybe it's making her homesick, I don't know, but just looking at all those different like reasons for why that could be.
Exactly.
I think there's a lot behind like why why she's so against, or why it's so negative, like you said.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's one idea of, like, I mean, it's normal to just say, hey, let's discuss, can I discuss this with, like, a few of the girls in the house, and say, hey, like, this is what I think. But to be so passionate is, like, there's clearly an underlying problem.
Right.
that she's
I
going
think also, like, in the SLA role, I think one thing is, like, confronting this issue during during that convo time. I don't think that would be kind of an appropriate time to kind of do that at all.
Entirely.
And I think that something that's so awesome about the SLA role is that we are able to go and talk to these individuals one-on-one,
For sure.
and that's where I feel like you learn so much about somebody, and that's where you kind of gain like the respect and trust of them, and they're able to kind of like open up to you and share things that they're struggling with, and maybe why they have these beliefs, and just communicating in general I feel like is key, because that's where you truly get to know somebody and where they're at and like where their heart's at, and I don't know.
So what about, I guess, shifting gears a little bit, like what do we think about dealing with the other residents who are now like
Right.
questioning their faith, and kind of like, you know, for the first time their faith has really been shook? Like, how would we look into dealing with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I keep coming back to it obviously is not just Trisha. There's probably plenty of other students who are also having their faith kind of questioned. They're questioning their own faith. And I think just being there, trying to give them resources. Because it's also maybe they decided during college that they don't like the denomination they've grown up with, and being like, hey, you could try out other churches. Like, maybe you don't identify entirely with this denomination, you're not connecting with it. There's other denominations of churches that you can try. I think there's so many different things you could do for somebody in that situation that I'm not sure I have one good answer.
I think, like, my thought is just, like, encouraging doubt. I think, doubt, there's this terrible stigma about doubt, but what matters is what you do with the doubt. And so if you press into the right resources, and if we are resources for them to talk to, and it's not knowing all the answers, but it's saying, hey, like, I'll dive into the word with you if it's, like, a theological or scriptural issue, but just, like, encouraging those times of doubt. And we all have them in life, and so it's like just also that honesty in us about, like, hey, we've had them, we're there too. And I think just encouraging those one-on-ones with the students that also were affected by this outspoken student. So.
Exactly. And like, I think it's important to realize too that we're going to have kids who come from kind of all walks of life, whether they know Christ or not, or they come to Pepperdine and they're like, this is not what I was raised to think or believe. And I think one thing that I think I've learned over the years is that it's more about sometimes your actions and the way that you spread the love of Christ, that they will be more willing to come and talk to you about it and explore that. And just like you guys were saying, like, making yourself available and like, hey, like, I want to understand this with you. Let's sit down and let's like get some coffee, some tea, put on some like delight music, and like let's like figure this out together.
Yeah, it's weird because I was actually going to say a very similar thing. I think looking back to my freshman year, I did have some of those doubts, like, and I was questioning things, which was good, but also very scary. And what was so cool is my SLA had kind of just created such a safe space, and such a place where she was like, look, I'm not perfect, and she kind of gave us her testimony and said all the things she struggled with, to the point where when I did have those doubts, I felt so comfortable going to her. And then she was like, oh, read this C.S. Lewis book, or read this, and like, let's talk about it, and followed up with me. And I think it was so important that she established that relationship early on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is like key. I feel like like what we do in Delight, like our testimonies, that's when people are like, you came today.
I think testimonies is such a good part of that. And I was thinking back to the question and about like the first time their experience kind of their like Christianity on their own without their parents' guidance. And I think college is such a time where it's like, this is your religion, it's not your parents' religion, it has to be for yourself.
Yes.
And I think we're just, it's such an uneasy time, and I think the SLA role is just really cool because we get to help people through that kind of difficulty, help them navigate it.
You're definitely the first person.
I think we're out of
Yeah,
time.
I think we're out of time. My timer just ran out.